We're doing it.
Time zones.
We're live. What's up, gamers?
God,
Someday I'm gonna think of
Jackson.
something funnier to say than "What's up, gamers" when we start a stream.
It's a classic. Well, I mean,
It's
Hello,
good.
Mr. President is really good. So
Yeah,
I
just-
mean,
Hello.
Just
Yeah, yeah.
every stream.
Pull
Hello, Mr. President!
What's up,
it
gamers?
doesn't sound like Poland. It sounds like what's your game with? My name is Jackson McBoy.
Okay, so I
There's no good way to say Jackson in the baby voice.
am going to intentionally not do anything on my computer that I don't have to be doing right now. So I'm gonna trust you guys
That's
to
fair.
monitor the chat today.
Yeah, I got you.
And
man.
I will
got
not be
you.
able to see it.
Can I?
Okay.
So I shouldn't have said that on stream because now people are
Nice.
going to abuse that. But just
Yeah,
I
everybody say
can't
fuck
see-
Jackson.
I
real
can't
quick.
see the
Just
chat,
super
so don't be
quickly.
mean to me because I'll know.
Don't cyberbully Jackson because he won't
Just
know.
say the meanest things.
He won't know that he's being cyberbullied.
Do either of you guys have the stream up right now?
That's
I
the
have the
best.
stream up right now. I think we both
I
have
do.
the stream up.
Okay, and it's still going. It didn't stop when I quit Chrome.
Yeah, I said
Yeah.
first.
Okay,
It's
cool.
Yeah.
Well, see, the stream's going, but it's
I
three
said
different
first. Adeline
people,
said second.
and I don't know how that happened.
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Kate brings up a good suggestion.
Wait, should I?
They say we should combine the two and do Hello Gamers.
Hello,
Hello,
gamers.
gamers!
What's up, gamers?
Welcome back to Minecraft.
See, I just slowly go into Homestar
Wow.
Runner whenever I do that voice.
It's the same thing. Strong
is.
bad.
Strong bad.
I've been.
Strong.
I watched.
I'm so what is a terrific athlete.
I watched the one that Strong Bad email where he's talking about indie films again because I wanted to use it for a joke in the
Yeah.
next Netflix video I'm doing, and that shit's still
Yeah.
so funny. Like
It's so funny.
the
Homestar
joke
Runner
where
is so funny.
the joke where they're like, Strong Bad's film is named after a few boring words from the middle of some boring sentence, and I think about that like all the time. Anytime there's an indie movie title that's like just a fraction of a sentence that sounds kind of dramatic, like The
Yeah.
Devil All the Time or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or like something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I always think of Strong Bad.
I did not watch Homestar Runner as a kid.
Oh, it's
I know, Jackson, you know this
So
because we
good.
were just talking about this.
Yeah.
But like, I really missed out on that. I feel like I have
Well,
no
it's
idea what
'cause-
Homestar Runner even is.
it was like our dad's like favorite thing. It was like totally our dad's sense of humor, and then we all would like watch it together. I think our dad still has
Yeah.
that Strong Bad shirt.
Yeah, he still wears it sometimes.
Kate, if you
Oh,
fucking
that's
bring up
cute.
kaijus in this house again, I
Don't do it.
swear to God, we're not doing this.
Kate,
Keisha and I were talking
Kate's trying to
about.
start a fight.
Keisha and I were
Kaiju
talking about.
again.
No, we were talking about dinosaurs because we were fighting about Aquaman. And
Yeah.
I said, like, out of spite.
Did you say that dinosaurs were a kaiju?
No, I said that out of spite, I was gonna we were gonna cover every subterranean dinosaur movie on the podcast. We were gonna go through and like find every movie that has underground dinosaurs in it. But then I happened upon a Wikipedia page called like list of movies that include dinosaurs, which was first of all much
Yeah.
too lenient because they included Toy Story and Wreck-It Ralph in the list, which is like, I guess technically whatever. But the other
yeah,
thing,
well, I mean, like, yeah.
the other thing was that all the Godzilla movies were on there, and I was like, this is a can of worms we cannot ever open. Like, as soon as I saw that,
He's not
it was like immediate. Don't, Adeline. Don't
Well,
express any
no, wait,
opinion.
hold on.
Do not.
I'm not accepting pay. I'm asking a question.
Okay.
In the lore of Godzilla, what do they say that he or she is?
I
do they
believe he's just a like mutated monstrosity.
Yeah, like I think there is a version where he's like a dinosaur that's like been at the bottom of the ocean
Right.
and like just made its way up or something.
Maybe
So,
like in the
I
Matthew
think-
Broderick version.
Yeah. God, Kaden, they're just literally talking about kaiju in the chat. It's not even the new topic.
Stop. We have to leave it behind.
We can't do this. Jackson's gonna be like, elephants are kaijus, and they're fucking not. They're just big animals.
No, elephants are not kaiju.
Are dinosaurs kaiju? No, because they're supposed to be that size.
Well, I don't know. Godzilla's supposed to be the size he is. He's just Godzilla, so.
No, he's a dinosaur that's really big. Because he is a dinosaur. I've decided that Godzilla is a dinosaur.
You can't say you think he's a dinosaur! You've ruined us!
God damn it!
Is anyone arguing that he isn't a dinosaur?
I'm not going to engage!
Okay, Mechagodzilla is not a dinosaur because he's a robot.
Of course he's not a dinosaur! We also discovered...
He's a robot! Yes, see, we agree! Mechagodzilla is not a dinosaur!
We also discovered that there's a movie that came out in, like, 1992 that was just called Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, which is a movie I feel like we have to cover on the podcast.
Hell yeah.
I want to know what Space Godzilla's deal is.
Okay, I have an unrelated question.
Mm-hmm.
I have an unrelated question.
Yes.
Should I post a promo in Tasha's Discord server?
Tabi, if you wouldn't mind doing that, and Adeline,
okay, I got
tweet,
you.
We can tag team it.
I gotta tweet?
You have to tweet. Sometimes you have to do that.
In the year 2020, sometimes you gotta tweet.
Can I at everybody? Is that, like, can I?
I think so. I think that's appropriate.
Let me go on.
Discord was just like, you're about to add over like 100 plus people. Are you
like,
sure?
Are you about to say some dumb
shit? Just be careful what you say when you do that.
You're gonna say something stupid and like 200 people are gonna see it. Just so you know.
Okay, I've sent the Discord message.
Perfect.
To the server.
Okay, so, I mean, usually our tradition is that we start, like, the podcast in earnest at, like, 15 after, so you can just hang around and not talk about kaijus for another, like, 6 minutes. We'll be okay.
We could, just for a minute, pretend that we live in a world where kaijus are not a topic of discussion.
But what about all the sad monster fuckers out there now?
I don't think anybody wants to fuck kaiju.
No, stop. Does anybody want to fuck Godzilla? I haven't heard that one.
Monster fuckers want to
no,
fuck...
you did. That's incorrect. You do not want to fuck Godzilla.
No, I'm saying they want to fuck people-sized monsters like werewolves or slime.
Yeah,
people.
or Mothman.
There is a scene for both, I am sure.
Yes.
I mean, look, I know people want to fuck Bowser, but that's pushing it. He's still generally human-sized.
He's like, what's the D&D like size scale? Like, it's like a giant. It's not a behemoth or whatever.
I can't decide if I would rather talk about monster fucking or kaijus with you guys.
Because I have something gross that I could say. Because the only way that you're doing stuff with Godzilla is either some weird ass fucking magic school bus vor shit, or
insertion,
or it's sounding, but you are the thing that is being sounded, and that just sucks.
You're going into the tip of Godzilla's dick.
Yes. I'm not, just to be clear, I am not. But somebody is.
Do you think Godzilla would be into that?
Oh dear.
Probably not. I don't know if Godzilla would notice, honestly.
Is Godzilla a top or a bottom? No, the question
Godzilla
is
doesn't have a lot of
top
choice over whether he's going to be a top or a bottom. He has to be a top, just physically.
What if he's a power bottom?
Yeah, he's probably.
I feel like he's a power bottom.
Okay, look. I mean, like, He's got to be on top.
Not
No.
you could be crushed.
How could
Take
you?
one for the team.
How could you get on top of Godzilla?
How can you be underneath Godzilla and not be squeashed?
You would have to
Listen,
be
it's not
squeezed.
easy, but we gotta make some sacrifices in order to fuck Godzilla.
Oh, god damn it. Ugh.
How's everybody in chat doing? Is this a good stream? Do we like this?
Is this good?
Ugh.
Is this good oh my god, I just clicked back and so much happened. I've been trying to be funny on Twitter the whole time.
Kate says, I live online. I know all the cursed things. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I fucked everything up. Why did I do that? Oh
Why did
no.
you do that?
Oh, I just closed
No.
YouTube and I have to open it again. Because this is my first time ever using a computer.
I'm shaking things up today. Usually I'm
What's
drinking a Jack and Coke, but today I'm drinking water.
So okay, hold on. So Godzilla is attacking. Could Ant-Man go up his butt and then become Giant Man and then kill Godzilla? And would Godzilla like it? Because
That's
Yeah.
the question. I feel
Okay.
like when people were talking about this a couple of years ago, there were not enough people asking the question of, like, how much force, like, how much physical work is exerted by Ant-Man's growth, right?
Yeah.
Would it be more likely that Ant-Man expands and blows up Godzilla? Or would it be more likely that the pressure of Ant-Man trying to grow would just crush Ant-Man within Godzilla's bowels?
Yeah, could
right?
he not, like,
Which
could he
power
not break through?
is stronger?
Yeah. Because, like, I think he would break through Thanos. Because Thanos is a thick boy, but he's still just a boy.
Right.
I don't think he could break through Godzilla.
Right.
But I also don't think he would die, because Godzilla is big, so he could just shrink back down, you know? Like, he wouldn't...
But presumably he would be
Wouldn't
trying
die.
to explode out from Godzilla.
Yes.
He would be growing
But I
to a
think he
size
would
which would
have-
crush him if it went wrong.
That's fair. And then he's stuck in the molecules of Godzilla's anus. Or something.
I'm about to head out.
I've decided I need either other places for me to be.
There are other,
That
there
would
are
have
other
been
things I could be putting my energy into.
that would have been good. What if in Avengers Endgame, Ant-Man like came out of the quantum
Godzilla
realm,
showed up.
and it just so happened that the spot that he needed to have materialized back out of just happened to be Godzilla's anus,
Yeah.
and also Godzilla exists
Don't put
in this
Godzilla
universe
into
now.
the Marvel. Yeah, don't put Godzilla into the Marvel
listen.
universe.
So Doctor Strange gets the Galaxy Gem, and then
Also,
and that's how we get Wolverine in here.
Also, Ant-Man definitely a kaiju.
But no, because that's like saying the Jolly Green Giant is a kaiju.
Yes, he
I don't think
is.
a human person can be a kaiju.
It's not.
Yes,
I think
he
it has
is.
to be an animal or a monster. I don't think a human could be a kaiju.
Nah, a dude could be
because
a kaiju.
then
No,
every
a
every
human
giant
cannot be a
human is a
kaiju.
kaiju. Yeah.
What about Ultraman?
Thank
So
you.
yeah, Adeline's right. Adeline's right.
Ultraman is a
Humans-
punk ass bitch.
Jet Jaguar.
No.
I should not be recording right now, right?
No, not
No, we don't want
Okay.
any record of this anyway.
yet. How's chat doing?
Too late.
What's going on in
Chat
chat?
hates it. Just to be clear, chat not okay with it.
Please stop.
I'm not leaving. Kate says I'm not leaving. I'm just metaphorically crying into my hands.
It's fair. It's
Vi
totally
says,
fair.
God, I hate this.
But just yeah, no, I don't think the Jolly Green Giant is a kaiju, and I'm not afraid to say it.
He is, and so damn
I
man.
also think that Godzilla is a power bottom, and I'm not afraid to say that either.
I'm gonna get my yogurt,
Thank
and
you,
then we're gonna
Adeline.
start the podcast.
Why the fuck are you getting yogurt?
Are you not getting yogurt?
I'm not getting yogurt because I'm about to record a podcast. Is he gonna take a second to slurp up some yogurt? Yeah, he doesn't have a spoon. He's just doing the nasty thing.
By the way, I also
We have some
only
metal straws in the kitchen.
Yep.
I also only just recently realized that Gojira was like actually what Godzilla is called in Japan, and not just somebody saying Godzilla in a racist accent. There's just a little journey that I went on
Gojira.
a few days
Oh, that's
ago.
fun.
Thank you for sharing, Jack.
Yeah, you're
Now
welcome.
we know.
So now no more Godzilla talk, yes?
Yeah, no, we can never bring up
No promises.
it
No,
that
no
will not be
promises.
named. She will not be named.
Should we just start, if we ever mention Godzilla on this podcast ever again, we just bleep it out? Like,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Godzilla
That's
is
fine.
banned from this
Just to
podcast.
avoid
Yeah.
this whole incident.
People listening to the
The
podcast.
only like word that you ever bleep out.
You ever? I listen to a couple of podcasts that bleep things out as a bit, and like before I'm
Yeah.
into the bit, I'm always there's like a shiver down my spine when it's like a podcast that swears already, and you're like, what did they just bleep out? What did they just
What
say?
did they just
Yeah.
say?
And then it's like, oh, there's this bit where
It
they.
has to be something horrible.
And it's like,
did
oh,
he
it's just-
drop the N-word?
Yeah, it's like they have a bit where they censor the word Godzilla.
That is a good auditory bit. That's a good bit for a podcast.
Just like, what is a power play? What?
Okay. No more,
Oh god.
no more talk of that man.
No more. God, I almost just quoted
Okay.
Into the Woods. What the hell was that?
Okay, I'm
God.
setting up
You're so welcome that I did it.
my stuff.
I'm good to be recording at any time.
War.
I said a new bop. Is that funny?
Sure. I'm gonna start recording right now.
Bob.
Are you guys going?
Okay, me too. Yes.
A new Bob Hope.
A new Bob Hope. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I said that.
Are you recording, Adeline?
Ice.
Or a new Pope, also very
A
good.
new Pope, the young Pope,
A
starring
new
Jude
Pope
Law.
is good.
The young Pope. Ooh.
Adeline, are you recording or not?
The hot new Pope. Who's the new Pope?
Adeline, are you recording or not?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
Listen, I'm too busy being hilarious.
Because there were two different HBO Maxi series that were sequels to each other, called The Young Pope and then The New Pope. So that's what the joke is.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay,
So the new hot young Pope.
let's go. Jackson, Adeline, Tabi, Bob.
Okay. Hope.
Okay. Was.
Super. That's now.
It's not your turn.
It's.
I thought it was Jackson.
Bob Hope. What did you say, Tabi?
Take it again. Take it again.
Okay, we'll start scratch.
Was.
No. We're starting at the beginning with me.
Okay.
Adeline
Okay. Is.
Never.
able
To.
Tell.
what
A. No.
Kaiju.
is. Okay, sure. Yeah, fine. All right.
Jackson.
I'm gonna have to bleep that out, but it's fine.
Sorry.
We're gonna have to bleep it out. I'm sorry. Our budget just went through.
Okay.
Oh god.
All right. So this.
So
I'm gonna,
what had happened was that as we started the exercise, somebody liked the tweet that I just sent out on Twitter, so my phone buzzed. So all of the like mental capacities of my brain just shut down as my phone buzzed.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to start the podcast now. This is the beginning.
It went boo boo, and you were like,
Hello.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone need silence, please.
Yeah,
It's a cool podcast. It's a cool podcast with some cool friends. This is the podcast. Listen to podcasts with all your buddies. We talk about vor. This is the vor podcast. It's a podcast that's about vor.
No,
Won't you join
no,
us on
Jackson.
the journey of vor?
Jackson, no.
Hi, my name is Jackson McMurray. Welcome to No Nerds
No.
Allowed.
My name is Alan McMurray. No Nerds Allowed, not a vor podcast. I can't stress this enough.
my name's Tabi Bardall, and I'm a guest on a vor podcast.
And it's No Nerds Allowed. Enjoy the music.
You're not a guest at all anymore.
You're gonna wish you
can't
were a
get
guest
rid
on
of
a
me.
vor
Spoiler
podcast in a
podcast for
second.
garbage people. Yeah. You should be so lucky. God.
All right, fellows. This is it. We finally made it to the original Star Wars, simply titled Star Wars.
The one, the only.
Until it was
Yeah.
retitled Star Wars: Episode
The
4
one.
- A New Hope. Which, you know what? Not
Yeah.
as clean. Not as clean as just Star Wars.
No, not as catchy. I'm not gonna get that tattooed on my knuckles.
Yeah, that's true. You could do Star Wars on your knuckles.
It's
I
too
never
long.
It's
considered
too
that.
I don't have enough knuckles.
Yeah. Well, you could get Star.
You
Oh,
could
yeah,
get
you could get Star Wars.
you could get Star Wars, and you could get A New Hope. You would just need to have a friend.
Oh.
Yeah. This is a matching couples tattoo.
Yeah.
BFF
No,
tattoos.
instead of getting engagement rings, you just tattoo Star Wars: A New Hope on both of your knuckles.
Yeah. Maybe you could do like
Yeah,
your.
this is what the
romantic.
Trekkies do.
Maybe you could do it like on your first
Oh,
knuckle it says
God.
Star Wars, and on your second knuckles it says A New Hope. So instead of like doing
Yeah.
two fists, you do like
Gotta-
two little cat hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, A New Hope.
It says A New Hope.
Oh my. And Yahoo.
Okay, so you want to know what I finally?
Up.
I spent forever trying to figure out when it was exactly that the original movies got rebranded to Episode 4, 5, and 6. And
Yes.
the definitive answer is the first one was just called Star Wars, and then the second one was called
That
Star
makes sense.
Wars: Episode 5 - The Empire Strikes Back. Day one,
Wait.
George Lucas was like, "This one's called Episode 5
Okay.
because I'm calling my shot. It's 1980.
Wait,
I'm gonna
really?
make 3 prequels." Yes.
What the fuck?
Did that confuse people? I feel like that probably
I
confused
feel like I
people.
wouldn't watch the movie anymore.
I mean-
when it was like, this is the 5th one. Because I'd be like, what the fuck?
And then, you know,
Where did the second and third and fourth one go?
well, and the thing is that that's when they started referring to the first one as A New Hope, was like in the 80s.
Okay.
But and
Wow.
also as Episode 4.
Star Wars as a franchise is the weirdest thing. Like who?
Yeah.
Like we talked about this in our last Star Wars podcast, but like who starts a franchise? Like your first introduction to anything and everything with a paragraph with text rolling up the
Right.
screen, and how is everybody just okay with it
Right.
for the rest of history?
Well, here's the
Like,
thing. Here's the
fucking,
thing about
like-
it.
Well, because, like, it's so unique and different.
But it is
But-
weird.
Well,
Yeah,
no, but here's the
yes.
thing. Okay, I'm about to drop some knowledge on you guys, which is that
Oh, God,
that was
great.
like very
Cool.
much the tradition
Please,
of like
please.
50s,
I have so many questions.
like 50s Errol Flynn adventure movies. Almost always had that. They almost had like opening like fucking Robin Hood is the something something, and Lil John and the constable of Nottingham is
and Lil Wayne
doing this. Lil John. Like they would always have that, and like Star Wars is so about that. It's so like
that makes
50s
a lot
adventure
of sense,
movie. So like the opening crawl
Yeah,
is like pretty explicitly like a new twist on an old classic, like these 50s adventure movies.
Yeah. Okay,
Like-
that's way cooler than I thought it was.
Like a
Because I thought
pirate
it was
movie.
like, we don't know how to establish all this stuff, so we're just gonna hand you a paragraph that you have to read before we can play
Right.
the movie.
Well, and that's what's so crazy about Star Wars.
Yeah, no, it definitely like feels kind of weird.
Yeah, like it makes sense
Yeah.
when you have all of them, when they all start with a paragraph. You're like, oh, it's a Star Wars movie. Star Wars movie starts with a paragraph. But when you think of it, it's like, this is just the first one, and it starts with a paragraph. It's
Yeah.
like, why did you do this, George? My good friend George, why did you do this?
Like, I feel like
My
we're on a
friend,
first name
we're
basis
friends.
with George Lucas. Definitely, like starting to read like the paragraph, like going up, right? I was like, oh my god, why aren't they showing me this instead of why are they telling me this and not showing me this? But then you kind of get to the bottom and it's like, they have just very neatly set up their whole movie. And it was like, oh, okay. And then they went back and they explained everything else. So I like it. I'm a fan of the scroll.
Well, yeah, it definitely works now. I think it's really cool as an homage to that old kind of movie, because because Star Wars is absolutely a collaboration of like 12 different classics, all like a new take on a bunch of new things. Like we've got like knights and princesses, and also Star Wars, and also World War II fighter planes. Like it's just all the stuff that George Lucas likes, and stories just crammed together. And
It's
it works
literally
really well.
like in the 70s. It's like every kind of movie you can make, like pushed into one. It's like
exactly.
It's a fun adventure movie. It's like a wartime fighter pilot movie. It's like a comedy. It's like sort of a drama. It's like a fantasy movie. It's a sci-fi space opera. It's like literally like every type of movie that there is, like just combined together into one
to be made.
Yeah.
No, but my point was that like making that an homage to that old style of filmmaking, which is the type of style that he's basically doing. He's making an adventure movie in that style. I think that's really cool to like do the same thing that they did. But the difference is that when it's the beginning of a Robin Hood movie and they give you a paragraph to explain what Robin Hood is, you already kind of know what Robin Hood is because it's an established story. We all know who Robin Hood is, even if it's the 50s, we all know who Robin Hood is. But so, to start off your world that we've never heard of before, I don't know who the fuck Darth Vader is, because it's the 70s and I'm an idiot. I don't know who the fuck Darth Vader is. To just be like, yo, Darth Vader's turning up. I'm gonna be like, okay, who is that, though?
You're like, alright, who's that?
Yeah,
No, come on, it's cool.
But then there's like that moment of panic of like, should I know who fucking Darth Vader is?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I think if you sat down,
What book is this?
if you sat down to a movie and it was just like, and soon, fucking Colonel Exploder will be here to wreak havoc, you'd be like, oh shit, like, I want to know more about Colonel Exploder.
I have a lot of questions about this movie. So I didn't know this, but I've never seen this movie before.
Oh, really?
And the reason I say I didn't know that I've never seen this movie before is because I've always been really confused by like which one's which and like all that kind of stuff. And I have come to realize that I have seen like maybe 3 like of the old Star Wars movies.
I've got some good news.
So this was a really
yeah, there's only 3 of them, Tabi.
No, there's, but there. Oh no, I see what you're saying. Yes. Okay.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
Well,
No, it's
okay,
literally designed to be confusing because they're the 3 original ones, but as soon as they made the second one, they're like, also there's going to be 3 prequels that are going to come out later, and then we're going to it's designed to be confusing if you're just like, what's a Star Wars?
What's a Star Wars? So, okay, but I have one really big question. How much did like George Lucas go back and change about this film?
So I did some research on this.
I was watching this with Vi, and Vi was like, "Oh yeah, they went in and they added." Okay.
So yeah, the like literally. Sorry, we have a super bad delay between Tabi and I on this call right now. It's like literally like 2 full seconds.
Because you keep interrupting Tabi. And I'm like, Jackson, let's.
It's because I'm just responding to her saying something when in real time she's halfway through saying something.
It's okay.
But although super quick,
you guys in the same house.
If it's at all possible, well, it's a super bad energy when there's like 2 people in the same room and one person who's not. But Tabi, if you were perhaps at all capable of switching to like your cellular data, maybe, I think that might help a lot and not eat up our bandwidth and solve that problem. Is that a possibility?
Let's see. I can try. I don't know how pretty I'm gonna look for this.
The resolution, though, Jackson. The 4K graphics.
Do you mind if I keep talking?
1080p.
1080 of them.
I do have one question before you keep talking.
Okay.
If I hang up the Discord call and like do it again, or like pick up here, is that a thing I should do, or should I just?
Yeah, just hang up on the computer and enter it again on the phone.
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm gonna do that really quick.
Okay.
Mr. Place is dead.
It probably just messed up the stream because the Discord windows moved around. Just bear with us, it'll be normal again in a second.
We're fixing it, we swear.
Yeah, it was just super annoying because, like, we are really tight, Adeline. Like, there's not a lot of lag between us, but Tabi is, like, a full second and a half behind. So, like, and you two don't seem to have any substantial lag between you. It's, like, just between me and Tabi there's a really bad lag, which is conversational poison.
From my perspective, you're just interrupting Tabi every time she talks, which is a bad look.
Yeah.
You can? Okay, how do I mute you guys, but not myself?
What?
Put in headphones.
Oh, yeah! Headphones!
Oh! Jackson, now everybody on YouTube can see your stupid Discord profile picture.
Yeah.
It's not stupid! I made it myself!
No, my avatar.
You're Tabi Jackson's.
It's the funniest
Jackson's
picture.
Is stupid. Yours is great.
I googled funniest picture, and that's what came up. Go sideways.
Okay.
Go sideways.
Go sideways. Wait, is this upside down?
No, you're still sideways to us.
Like that.
Oh.
There you go.
Like this?
Is your rotating?
Well, I mean, you're right side up, but you're vertical video.
This is what I was doing before. Oh. Well, I don't know how to change that.
Do you when you watch a video on your phone and you turn it sideways?
No, it's not doing it. No.
There you go. Now you're
okay, there you go.
Okay.
So So this is better because your picture's not as good, but we don't have a super horrible delay anymore. And you're not on Wi-Fi, right? You're on your cellular.
I don't. Oh, I am on Wi-Fi.
That's the point, Jackson.
Should I turn off Wi-Fi?
Yeah, turn off Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Disable the Wi-Fi.
What's Kate's point, Adeline?
Hacking into the mainframe. Is that you need to update your profile picture. You need to Google funny picture again.
Oh yeah, maybe the funniest picture on the internet is
because what if it's not the funniest picture anymore?
Yeah.
It's not the same anymore.
Okay, so
But now I don't have anything to put my phone on.
Yeah, that's why I gotta get 2 boxes of some candles. That's my setup, baby.
Also,
see, if I was a TikToker, I wouldn't have this problem because I would already have a ring light.
So, Tabby, I'll let you make this decision. Would you rather figure this out, or would you rather just cut video and go audio only?
I think I've figured it out. I just gotta find a way to not have this be fucky.
Okay.
Okay, I've almost got it.
You just gotta get some books and put it on some books.
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying. It won't
in the meantime,
up.
Mr.
President, Mr. McLuey,
Mr. Bond.
Oh my god, please stay. Oh my god.
Man down! Man down!
Oh.
Man down!
Launch the nukes!
There's a nuclear warhead!
Nuclear warheads
headed straight forward! John! Leave me! Tell my wife I love her!
Don't you dare turn that key!
I swear I'll shoot you!
Fuck! Oh god.
Yes? Did someone just knock on my door?
No, that was
no, Tabby's phone fell over. What is the stream doing? Is this good? Is this good content?
I can't. Alright, hold on.
Are you sure you don't want to just go to audio only?
So, yes, Jackson!
Okay.
Patient!
Jackson, this is good content. I like to imagine every single one of your roommates being like, what the fuck is going on?
Maybe, like, with my candles?
Don't do that. That takes us like right off. It is a slippery surface. It's very slippery.
Oh my god, for the love of God, do not put that on that slippery surface.
Oh my fucking god.
Tabby, think about the consequences of your actions.
Oh my god, you're so smart.
I know.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Stream, say hi to Vi.
Hello.
Hi, bye.
Hello.
Addie says hi.
Hello, Adela.
Okay.
Okay.
So what I was, as I was saying about Star Wars,
oh
literally,
god, bye.
So Star Wars, so like much has been made of how George Lucas likes to go in and change Star Wars. He literally, like, back in the 70s, it was more normal for, like, movies to open on, like, a few theaters first, and then if they do well, they open wide, so they're in, like, every theater, you know? So, between the point where they were open in just a few theaters in big cities, and when it went wide, so every theater in the country had it, he was changing it even then. He, like, went in and, like, changed a lot of the effects. And if I remember correctly, I think all the lightsabers were white in the original version, and then between the limited release and the wide release, he added like the red and blue to the lightsabers. And then there were a few things that they changed when it went to VHS. I don't have like a list in front of me, maybe I could, but like he changed like a handful of things, like changed the effects, like picked some like different takes of certain shots, you know, like went in and like sort of re-edited little things in the movie for VHS, and then
there was a whole entire added scene.
Oh yes,
of Java, right?
Yes. So and then the biggest one,
that was like that wasn't in the original.
Right. The biggest one
of Jamba Juice
was when. So that is also one of the things that made Star Wars such a phenomenon that lasted for so long was that in the late 80s, like early 90s, it like went back into theaters. They like came out with Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope again, but it was like the special edition. And so that was when most of the big changes happened. And that's an insane thing too, because when Star Wars went back into theaters, like sort of before like home video was like a super popular thing. Like it performed like a fucking new release blockbuster a second time for like all 3 movies.
Oh wow!
Wow!
But that was when they changed a lot of the stuff. That and of the 3 movies, the original one like is changed the most. The scene with that weird scene with Jabba was originally something they shot with the intention of making a stop motion monster, but they ended up cutting out of the movie. And then in like 1990 or whenever it was, they like went in again and like CGI'd Jabba the Hutt in there. Because now all 3 of the movies have come out, and we knew who Jabba the Hutt was and what he looked like, so they could like make him up. So like that's a weird thing.
Thank you for answering that question.
Yeah, and there were plenty of just CG things that they added into the like Mos Eisley sequence, which I think are super annoying because they look super bad and like
they're super distracting.
Agreed.
Yeah.
They're really distracting.
And one of the things...
Watch this robot hit this mouse into a garbage can. It's like, why?
Yeah. And what annoys me about it... Because the thing about this original Star Wars movie is that, like, filmically, it's not super dramatic, right? Like, there's basically nothing in this movie that you couldn't film with, like, a tripod. Like, that's pretty much the extent of, like, the flashiness of the, like, filmic language of it. But in those, like, all CGI,
Jackson.
Say again?
You can't take a tripod into space, Jackson.
For that,
like... How are you going to film an airplane?
Right. But for those, like, weird CGI inserted shots of Mos Eisley where it's like, this guy's got a giant camel thing. That's crazy. It's like the camera's, like, zooming around. It's like a weird crane shot. And you're like, it just doesn't, like, mesh with the language of the rest of the movie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we talk? Well, we're gonna get to him probably, but can we talk about the one stormtrooper who pops up and goes, "Look, Sir Droid"?
Right. Yeah, because that's a new addition too.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being an actor?
The delivery of that line.
Can you imagine being that actor in like 1989, and they're like, "Yeah, so you're gonna be in Star Wars now. Like you're gonna be in the original Star Wars now." Like forever.
Yeah.
Like that's a weird situation that like nobody else has ever experienced.
Yeah, you know that movie that everyone loves and has been established for a good number of years? You're gonna be in it now.
Yeah.
And the way that you're gonna cement your legacy is by giving the weirdest line delivery possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So on the topic, before we get like too far away from, because I want to talk about like practical effects versus CGI, of course. But before we get too far away from like, you know, how much do they go back and like change and like why and like blah blah blah. I didn't know this, but like there's like a not an organization of people. There's just like a group of people that like go back and try to like dig up the like original like versions of the films, and they're called Harmies Despecialized or like the Despecialized or something like that. Yeah. And so like if you see like an original version of something, you know, not one where George Lucas like went back and changed a whole bunch of things, it's the Harmies Despecialized edition of that thing. And they have some crazy statements about how like going back and changing films like that is like a form of vandalism of some sort, and it's like, and like I think that's really interesting. Like I don't think that you should go back and change stuff about your films. That's like a really easy way to get stuck up on like old stuff and like never move forward with projects and shit. But like I don't know if I'd call it vandalism because like it is his film.
Yeah. That's the thing.
It's
George
definitely an extremist view to take.
Yeah. George Lucas's whole, whenever he talks about it, first of all, he's very defensive of it because he like genuinely to this day still thinks he's like making improvements to these movies. Like they're better because of all these weird things he's adding. And his argument is weird. Like, art is inherently ephemeral. Nothing is forever. When you see a play 10 years apart, even if it's the same cast, it's never going to be the same because they're working on it and making it better every time they perform it, right? And he says, like, what is the difference between people, like, slowly improving their play over the course of its run of years and me going in and tinkering with Star Wars and I think just systematically making it better over the course of years, you know? But it's also sort of the same, like, World of Warcraft thing. Or go ahead.
Well, it's because he didn't originally edit it, you know. So it's not. It's just him going in and changing things. It's not the whole group project,
right?
Coming together and thinking they can do it better. It's just him forcing people to do things that he likes.
Yeah, is that true? Because, like, I know I've heard, you know, everyone's heard of, like, how much of a crazy person George Lucas is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, like, really, though? Like, just, no one else had, like, any input on those decisions. It was just him, and he was like, do this or die.
No, I think he was just,
Disney gave George Lucas the gun, and then...
No, I mean, look, saying George Lucas didn't edit it makes it sound like he just handed off the footage to someone else and they did it for him. Like, directors and editors are always in the same room working together. And even in an extreme case, like Star Wars, which is, like, famously a movie that was, like, really drastically sort of formed in editing, George Lucas was still in that room in conversation with his wife, who was editing it and putting it together. I don't remember what her name is
because this is important.
Yeah. But anyway, I really think it probably is just George Lucas being like, hey, you're gonna, like, re-release these movies, like, give me, you know, like $1 million, like $500,000. I'm just gonna, like, shoot some pickups, like 2 little scenes, and, like, hire some guys to go in and make some VFX in it. Like, is that cool? And they're like, yeah, sure, I guess. Like, you're George Lucas, do whatever you want.
Yeah, so it's less George Lucas with a gun and more George Lucas with all of the power behind his name, basically. And it's Maria Lucas.
But okay, so but if
Marsha
Marsha Lucas.
Reading comprehension.
That was a lot. There were a lot of names there.
It's one of those.
But I wanted, if we're talking about... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, because my original point was that it's the two things are that one, he didn't edit it, so saying that he's going back and him editing it now is just him improving his work. That's like, well, it's because you edited with a team, so it's not just you going back and improving your own thing, because it's a group of people working on something.
Yeah.
And a play is different every time because it's a group of people working on something. But, like, also, that is kind of like that is another, like, philosophy of art, is that you are never done with an art piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you have to find a time to just stop and be done and be content with what you have.
Right.
Like,
you
could work on a painting or a drawing forever.
Yeah.
Just until the universe ends and never be done with it. But you pick a point and you're like, all right, I'm content with what I have, and you put it out and you deal with it. It's like nobody's editing Van Gogh's Starry Night right now because he put it out. He said, "This is my painting," and we put it up on the wall.
Done.
Yeah,
that's art. Like,
yeah.
Like, you just have to kind of choose a stopping point and be like, I'm content with what I did, and going back and changing it. Honestly, it comes down to the fact that it's a film, that it's a group art form where it takes like 1,000 people in order to make this thing,
especially something like Star Wars.
Yeah, so you going back and editing things kind of feels like a middle finger to all of the people who worked on the original, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, sorry, actually this wasn't good. And it's like, well, fuck you. Yes, it was good.
Right.
I liked it.
So yeah, but
I liked it.
That's the thing that's so tricky about the, like, despecialized versions. Because you can get VHSs of Star Wars super easy. You can get on eBay and buy a, like, box set of the original 3 for, like, $15. And you could watch a version of A New Hope that's like 96% exactly the way it was when it hit theaters. There are some little changes, and he changed the effects, and there are some like alternate takes, but more or less it's the same movie. But like trying to get together that like real original footage, those like original prints that got sent to theaters, is like a super complicated and tricky thing to pull off, which is why that whole despecialized thing is such a big deal. People have been trying to get Disney to like release a despecialized cut of Star Wars forever. But before I forget about
I don't even know if they
eventually.
have it.
if we're gonna talk about these different versions, we gotta talk about the Greedo scene, because that is like the most controversial element in all of Star Wars. Like even still.
What? Why?
Yeah.
So the whole Han shot first thing?
Oh.
Because
Yeah.
so in the original version, in that scene where Han and Greedo are like talking to each other, Han just shoots him like straight up. Like Greedo's like, "Oh, you're gonna follow me," and then Han just like shoots him in the fucking chest and kills him. And then at a certain point, I don't remember which one it is. I'm sure it's the special editions that hit theaters again. They decided they didn't like that. So they changed it so that Greedo shot at him first, but he missed, and then Han shot in retaliation and killed Greedo, just to make him a little more respectable.
I see.
And people got super mad about it. Like, even in the 90s, before, like, internet outrage was a thing, there was, like, a huge outcry against it. And then...
Nerd rage has always been a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then for the next one, they changed it so they, like, both shot at the same time. So it was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
It was like, they both shoot, like, at exactly the same time, but Greedo's shot misses and Han's shot hits Greedo. And then, for some reason, they re-edited
it so silly.
Again when it hit Disney+. They re-edited it for Disney+, which I should say, that's the version I think all of us watched, was the Disney Plus version, unless you went back to the DVD, Evelyn.
I did.
So they changed it a third time, so there's just, like, weirdly... There was a whole meme for a minute about McClunky, because there's, like, this extra shot they put in from, like, the original footage, I guess, that wasn't in it before. They, like, spliced in this extra reaction shot from Greedo and had this weird little voice line where he goes, McClunky! And, like... And now there's a weird thing where they, like, digitally added Han's, like, head moving. Did you guys notice that? Like, when you watch it on Disney Plus...
I
noticed.
Yeah.
And
I noticed that he moved it. I didn't know that was like added.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. If you're looking out for it, it looks so fucking bad. Because it's like somebody like in After Effects, like cutting out 70s footage and like just like having it move.
Is it like that? Is it like that shot in Back to the Future 2 where Biff throws the magazine and for some reason it's edited so it goes like woo!
Exactly. No, and what it's like is it's like that weird Jabba scene. Because there's that moment where he like walks behind Jabba, but he has to like walk over his tail, and you can see Harrison Ford like really jankily kind of like move up as if he's taking a step on something and come back down in a super weird, awkward way.
I wish I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I noticed that it looked funky, but it just looked... I mean, it's just as funky as the rest of the bad CGI, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's this weird thing where it's like, even now that George Lucas isn't in charge of anything anymore, for some reason Star Wars is just cursed to get fucked with forever, I guess. Like, even though it's somebody else, we just can't keep our fingers out of it.
Yeah, that's so interesting to me. Like, this is fascinating. I love this.
Well, because Han shot first was, like, originally, like, a meme that, like, oh, if you're a Star Wars fan, you know that Han shot first. But then it became a weird gatekeepy thing. Like, if you haven't seen the original cut, then you don't know that Han shot first.
Right.
But, like, it's, like, it changes Han's development through the movie. If at the very beginning he's a scumbag to that extent, and then he becomes a good guy at the end, it's like, oh, character development.
Right.
But, like, it doesn't really matter if Han shot first, because he still killed a dude at a bar. Like, you know? Like,
you can make such a weird... It's such a weird scene to just pick apart like that.
Yeah.
So specifically, like, as a creator, like, why? I mean, I guess it makes sense. You know, like you said, it's important to his character arc, but like, what? Yeah,
But,
he
like,
dies either way.
Not to such an extent, though. Like, if you could say it's like, oh, it was like, was it his intent to just murder somebody, or is he just defending himself? And it's like, well, the point of the matter is still in this business. Murder is a part of the business, and he's a rogue, so he's gonna it exchanges like the extent of like how much of a bad guy he is before he's redeemed, but like really not really. Like no matter who shoots first, it kind of gets the point across. It's like, oh, he's kind of a bad guy, and then he gets better later.
Right.
Like it doesn't
It
doesn't matter who shoots first. The scene is the same.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like in the other cuts, Han got shot and Greedo went with them. That's never happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greedo's just...
But in my fan fiction, it does.
Yeah. I want to imagine, like, we get a time machine and we end up, like, 40 years in the future and we're like, oh, hell yeah, I'm gonna watch the newest microchip release of Star Wars. And you just realize that, like, Greedo doesn't even die and he's just, like, weirdly digitally inserted into every other scene in the movie. Like...
Yeah.
It's like every
Han and Greedo are just
he's
best
like really important
now.
to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah, man. But it's like some guy who they've like edited Harry's face onto. So it's it's like Tolkien in the new movies.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I want.
Right. So
if we may, Jackson, unless you have like a line of a train of thought that you want to follow, I would really like to start like picking apart like the narrative, like the story from the beginning, because I have a lot of feelings about this.
Okay.
Do you have something else that was more important to say?
Well, I was just gonna say that in the experience of us watching these movies in chronological order, there's something that always sort of rubs me the wrong way about the opening of this movie in conjunction with the prequels, because it takes a lot of thought to like figure out exactly what's going on. So it's like they have the Death Star plans, and she gives them to R2-D2 and sends him down to Tatooine with a message that says, go take these to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Which is just super weird because Leia has absolutely no reason to know who Obi-Wan Kenobi is, and let alone exactly where he's living.
That's a good point.
Now. But, like, it takes a certain amount...
Or why she would want to get the Death Star plans to him.
Right. So, but it takes a lot of thinking on your part. And let's be clear, this is not necessarily a criticism of the original movie. If anything, this is more a criticism of the prequels. But
that's never been done before.
Right. But like it requires like there is like a decent explanation that you can suss out for yourself, right? They have the plans.
Yeah.
They happen to be over Tatooine. She gives the plans to a droid so she can keep Darth Vader from getting them. Sends him down to the planet. And she's like, fuck, okay, so it's Tatooine. Who do I know on Tatooine? And maybe, like, her dad told her about Obi-Wan Kenobi at some point in her life. And she's like, oh, there's a guy, I know about a guy whose name is Obi-Wan. I'm going to leave a message for him and just hope that he's cool and will send us the plans back at some point.
Right, but like, that's not good to just leave it up to the audience to just figure that out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people aren't going to think that.
Right.
Well, I think it would be better if Princess Leia didn't have any clue who Obi-Wan Kenobi was, and was just like, fuck, I gotta get these plans out of here and get R2-D2 and C-3PO out of here, so she just puts them in the chute on the Tatooine. But R2-D2 is like, yo, my homeboy Obi-Wan is here because I'm a robot and I know everything. Or like even if R2-D2 doesn't know that Obi-Wan's there, if he's just like, I got this important information, I'm gonna keep it to myself till I find somebody that I trust.
Right.
And then he finds his good friend Obi-Wan, and he's like, yo, Obi-Wan, you're trustworthy and I like you, so here's the information.
And
it also makes no sense why Obi-Wan is like, who's R2-D2?
Right.
Yes,
and it's weird.
I have no recollection of this robot.
It's weird to criticize. It's weird to criticize A New Hope like that, because obviously when this was the only movie, it's perfectly fine. Leia knows this guy named Obi-Wan.
Exactly.
She sends him the plans because she's about to get got by Darth Vader, and like hopes that he'll bring him back. Like totally cool. But, like, and it's so weird that, like, George Lucas, not only does he put so much effort into the prequels and making it everything line up super perfectly, but even in times when they don't line up super perfectly, he goes back into the originals to make them line up, right? Like, he put Emperor Palpatine into Empire Strikes Back. He put Hayden Christensen in Return of the Jedi. Like, he changes all these little things to make sure everything feels like one coherent story like it is in his mind. But yet somehow...
I hate that so much.
But yet somehow... he just forgot to make the very beginning of this entire franchise make any goddamn sense at all.
Makes sense.
In the broad scheme of things, which is so weird. I also think it's very, very funny
here's the thing
that, like, when the two droids are, like, hanging around, R2-D2's like, I've got really important plans for the continued safety of the universe that I have to get back to the rebellion. And C-3PO's like, no, R2, we're slaves now. Like, shut up about that. We have to be slaves.
No, we live on a farm now.
Yeah, exactly.
This is reality now. This is normal now.
Stop talking about that. We have a master. He's 19 and he sucks.
I don't know. I think you might need to take more into account about like CP3O like as a character. Because he is a droid, he is a robot, he doesn't have, like, those priorities, like, data mined into his system. Yeah. I don't know how droid speak works, but, like, that didn't catch me too off guard. Like, and going back just a little bit also, like, as someone who has not seen this film before, and does not know a lot about, Star Wars just in general, I really, really liked the beginning of this movie.
Yeah, it's cool.
A lot. It was like, oh my gosh, yeah, like CP3O and R2-D2 as like a duo just work so well.
Oh, yeah.
And like I had no idea. Like why,
they're
like how, but it's just they're so funny.
I know they're so funny.
They just complement each other so well.
I don't think he likes you at all. I don't like you.
I don't like you. Yeah. No, they're so good. And like the point. Go ahead.
I love that interaction so much because C-3PO's like, we live here now, R2-D2, drop it. And R2-D2 just like makes like this sad beep, and C-3PO's like, no, I don't think he likes you. It's so funny.
Yeah. I love it so much. But so I'm really invested in the story, right? I'm like, oh my god, I wonder like what's gonna happen to these two fun robots, right? Yeah. And then Luke gets introduced. And he's immediately, like, the most annoying character.
Yeah.
Right.
And, like, and as soon as he's introduced, it's like, all right, so now this shithead's here. Yeah, now it's Luke time. And now we have to explain to Luke and the audience, like, what the Force is. And, like, oh, I knew your father. And he's like, my dad? And you're like, shut up!
I want to go to Coruscant to get power converter.
Yeah.
To get power converter.
No, okay. So there's this line in the beginning of the movie where, so George Lucas was like famously a crazy person who didn't know how to effectively express what he wanted to his actors, and he would constantly tell them, like, faster, louder, more intense. Like that was the only thing he knew how to do when he was directing actors. Would just be like, more. Just, I don't know, I want it to be more exciting, make it bigger. And, like, all the actors were like...
That's so strange.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting because this movie feels like that, like, the way and all these characters interact, like, it feels like they were all just told, like, faster, louder, you know? But, like...
Be more annoyed.
There's this one...
Be more like a 16-year-old.
There's this one line where, I wrote down the quote because I think it's so funny. Hold on one sec.
While you do that, I'm plugging in my phone because it's dying very fast.
Okay, so
it's dying.
Where Luke, so like R2-D2 shows the little message of Princess Leia, and he's like, "Whoa, she's so beautiful! Like, what is this? What's going on?" And
she's
then,
beautiful.
Like, he tries to like wiggle something in R2-D2, and she goes away. And there's this shot where Luke goes, he's just like, wait a minute, where'd she go? Bring her back! Play back the entire message! And, like, I feel like I can just feel...
oh my god, have you never seen a woman before?
No, I feel like I can feel Mark Hamill's actual real-life rage seeping through in that line delivery. I feel like George Lucas told him to be...
telling him to be louder and faster.
George Lucas told him to be louder and faster one too many times, and he was just like, okay, if you say so, George!
Okay,
and he does one take.
You want louder and harder and faster? Here you go!
And it has, like, big, like, Greg Sestero in the room energy, where you can just feel the, like, real-life behind-the-scenes rage, like, seep through in that line delivery. Yeah. Like, every time I watch that, I'm like, that is a truly unhinged person delivering that line like that.
Well, it's, like, two things that I want to say. It's circling back a little bit. Well, I'll say my first thing first. So, there is a scene... They don't weirdly play everybody's ages correctly. Like, Luke is 16, right? But so like, half the time he's a 6-year-old, half the time he's, like, a 5-year-old. There's that shot where he's, like, playing with the airplane.
Yeah, I know. It's really funny.
He's 5.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's doing that, but it's whatever.
I think canonically he's, like, 19.
Luke, Leia, and Han all together. He's probably a little bit older. It just makes it weirder that he's playing with the airplane.
Like, for sure, 100%, I was like, okay, this kid is 16.
Yeah, I think Leia is 16. She's younger.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up, because this is a whole timeline that exists.
Her, like... Yeah.
Also, they're twins. They're not different ages, Adeline.
That would make sense. You're right. I forgot.
Okay, hold on just one second.
Tabi.
Spoiler!
This movie from 1978.
Okay, yeah, so they're 19.
So I was watching this with me, right? And I was like, okay. I was like, what? Is this the movie that Darth Vader says that I'm your father? And I was like, just shut up and watch.
Shut up.
But yeah, according to the current canon, Luke and Leia are both canonically 19 years old in the first movie.
Okay, so then it's just sexism then, because they definitely play her like an adult woman and they play him like a 5-year-old, so that's just whatever. But I just think it's interesting because they play Han like an adult, and he's way older than both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they play Luke super young and they play Leia like an adult. And then that's the point, is that Luke gets progressively way less annoying as the movies go on. Just in this first one, he's pretty bad. But my second thing that I wanted to say is I wanted to circle back to C-3PO just being like, we're slaves now. But, like, it makes so much sense for his character, and especially with his dynamic with R2-D2, where R2-D2 is, like, basically a war droid. Like, he's, like, a repairman for, like, everything, but, like, mainly, like, in the planes, he's, like, fixing the plane as they fly and they, like, get damaged.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that R2-D2's, like, headspace is, like, we got a thing that we gotta be doing. This is for the war. This is for what we're doing. And just, like, going all in. Well, C-3PO is just like, dude, I'm an interpreter. Can we just stay here where I just have to hang out with this 19-year-old and, like, talk to a water vaporizer? Like, please, man. Like, this is pretty good. Can we just stay here? Like, it makes so much sense. And C-3PO is just like, R2-D2, shut the fuck up and let me live here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if we're going through beat by beat, at this point, Ben Kenobi shows up, and he's like, oh, hey, I know what's going on. Let me teach you about the Force. And then fucking Luke's parents just die.
We teach you everything.
Oh yeah, his uncle and his aunt.
Yeah.
His aunt and uncle.
That freaked me out.
He gets Uncle
Ben. Like, Jesus Christ. Just, that's all I have to say about it.
We spend so much time with just, like... Yeah, it's honestly really effective in a really short amount of time, because we have, like, 2 or 3... like, cute moments of just the two of them just being like, oh, we're the aunt and uncle, and they're like, oh, let Luke go to pilot school, and like, oh, I'm making dinner, like, where's Luke? Oh, he's staying with the droids. Like, there's just, like, there's, like, just a few moments of just, like, total normal domestic bliss.
Yeah.
And then, like, 2 scenes later, we just see their vaporized skeletons on the porch. Like,
Oh my God.
a lot. It's freaky.
Yeah, and I have the perfect part for this. So, as I've said like a bajillion times, I've watched this with Vi. And, like, at this point, I'm like, holy shit, I was not expecting that, right? Like, and we pause it so I can write down notes and stuff, right? And Vi was like, I don't mean to bring Vi up so much, I'm so sorry. But I was like, I had no idea that was going to happen. And Vi, I thought this was the funniest thing. Vi turns to me and is like, stormtroopers are not supposed to be a joke.
Right.
Like, I mean, I guess not. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of don't
What
like...
is it about
I
stormtroopers?
absolutely...
Go ahead, Adeline.
Oh, go ahead, Jackson. Okay, I will go ahead. I was about to say, but now I lost my train of thought.
Okay, I'll just
like,
go then.
throw that thought away, because Jackson's trying to talk.
Well, 'cause
okay, yeah.
I kind of don't...
the garbage can.
I kind of don't like how much the whole, like, stormtroopers can't shoot at things and aim worth a shit thing has, like, permeated pop culture.
It's so stupid.
Because it's such a cinema sins.
Oh, really? Because I always thought that was funny.
But, like, I don't know. I think... I don't think... it doesn't bother me when... It doesn't bother me when it's just, like, people saying that. Like, it's like, whatever. It can be funny to you. That's fine. But, like, in The Mandalorian, there's this whole scene where these 2 stormtroopers are talking to each other, and they're just like, oh, isn't it funny?
No spoilers.
Isn't it funny how it seems like we can never shoot anything? LOL. And I'm like, no, fuck that. I don't like that one bit. Like, keep that out of it.
Fuck you too, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like...
I think that's kind of funny. I haven't seen
I
the
hate
Mandalorian, but I think that's funny. I like that joke. I think it's funny. But, of course, I have a lot less experience with Star Wars. Sorry, Adeline, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It just feels like cinema sinsy plot hole. Like, why can't the stormtroopers ever shoot anybody? It's like, because if Luke got shot, the movie would be over. Like, what do you want?
Right.
I guess that's a really good point. That's a good point.
I hate it when movies
like, I get your
feel
point,
like they
that
need
it's
to
like,
defend
these are, like,
themselves.
Military people who are, like, supposed to be scary, but, like, it just like, leave it alone.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like these... I hate it... Like, this is part of the whole thing with, like, Beauty and the Beast, for example. Is, like, these movies...
Yeah.
Disney does this a lot, where they're, like... They try to anticipate what people... Like, what jokes people will make about things, and, like, make the joke first. And, like, point out what's goofy or wrong about something before you can, you know? Like, be sort of irreverential about things. And I feel like... I don't know, I don't like that. I feel like a lot of these criticisms that they're always trying to get out in front of are not criticisms that they should be concerned about. They're not things that make a movie worse.
Yeah, it's not the important ones.
Yeah, exactly. So when they're like...
Yeah, the criticism that there are no black people in this movie is not the one they're listening to. The one that they're listening to is, he can't, Stockholm Syndrome, It's
Right,
like, you guys are dumb.
And so I don't like it
But
when they have to
aside-
be like, oh, we did it. We said it's funny that stormtroopers can't hit things. So it's fine. We got out, we're saying it. So it makes it actually a good part because you like it when you're in on the joke,
Yeah. Here, wait, Jackson and Adeline, I have something really important to interject with. And you're going to be so mad. You're going to be so mad.
Cool.
Okay.
I think when I was shuffling around with switching my computer to my phone, Audition stopped recording.
Oh, okay.
And it stopped recording. It got about 16 minutes.
Okay. Well, I mean, we have the audio from the
recording.
stream. It's going to be a huge pain in my ass to put it together, though.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
I mean, that's okay. Just...
It's rare that we have audio at all. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll have
Should
another
I?
No Tabi episode.
No! Should I?
Turn it around completely.
Okay. Not to...
It's like both Adeline and Jackson just like mixing in like your own voices and talking to each other. Sorry,
Right.
Jackson, go ahead.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I mean, not to talk too much shop on the stream, but I'm working 10 hours a day every day between now and when the episode's supposed to come out. So somebody else needs to take point on putting Tabi's stream audio back into the podcast.
Would it make it easier for you, Jackson, if I started a new recording? Like I
Well, yeah,
exported
yeah,
this
you need to start a
and
new
like had
recording.
a part 2? Okay. Allow me to export this really quick. Sorry, stream.
Behind the scene.
Behind the scene. This is what the streams are for.
Yeah.
Also, Cade, while I export this, Cade said like that their heart dropped when they heard C3PO mentioned.
Oh, right.
Like, oh god, oh no.
We just talked about how good of a character he is, not how round his ass is.
But seriously though, Adeline, can you put the podcast together this week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm putting that on you because I literally physically do not have time to do it before Monday morning.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
I got you.
I'm sorry, I wish I made this easier for you.
No, it's okay.
Okay, I'm still in the process of getting this saved. So give me just 1 second. Oh, okay, so it is on there. You bitch.
You bitch.
You bitch. Okay. Okay, Oh no, there's something happening! It stopped recording for some other reason. And now it won't record anymore. Hey, asshole!
Audition loves to just not work randomly and with no way to fix it.
Audition just has a vendetta against No Nerds Allowed.
But literally, like, sometimes I'll just, like, open up Audition normally to record audio, like Audition is supposed to let you do, because that's what the program is for. And it'll just be like, actually, none of it works. And then I'll look up the error code on the internet, and it'll be like, yeah, just wait a few days and it'll stop. And I'm like, oh, cool, great. Is
what
this
the
the professional
hell?
standard for audio mixing? And
yeah,
like,
Jesus.
Cool. What a good program. Adobe Premiere, more like Adobe shit smear.
See, that's a good one.
Don't do that again.
Oh Jesus! That's not what I wanted.
I thought that was funny.
Okay, I may need to call in Vi for help if this didn't work.
Do you have Audacity?
Okay, it didn't work. Audacity? I think so.
Audacity?
No, I don't.
Audacity is great for emergencies. You don't. It takes like 2 seconds to download, but yeah.
All right.
What's the problem, Tabi?
Yeah, Audacity is good for emergencies, but Audacity.
What did you say, Jackson?
What's the problem?
I don't know. It just when I hit record, it won't record, and I tried starting like a new everything, but it still is being a bitch.
Okay.
So I might just download Audacity. I had it on my old computer, but I forgot this is a newer one.
Because Audacity is good for emergencies, but not for actually recording, because Audacity also loves to just put your stuff in the garbage for no reason. And it's like, why did you do this, Audacity? That's what happened to our whole entire first episode. Audacity was just like, hey, psych? No, actually.
No, really?
Yeah, it was a good episode. Looking back on it, it probably wasn't
that good. No, it probably sucked ass.
But because it got deleted, it's just like,
we didn't make a good episode until like episode 15.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair.
Download or not?
Although I do just remember, like, when we filmed that, it was when I was living in Ellensburg, and we recorded it, like, in person, like, over Christmas or Thanksgiving or something. And I remember, like, driving back to Ellensburg and just, like, putting it on, like, over my speakers, like, opening up my laptop in the passenger seat and, like, playing it while I was driving. And just being like, this is so good. This is so cool and funny and interesting, and we're going to have the best podcast ever. And then I got home and opened it up, and it just completely imploded in on itself. I was like, oh, no!
And then he cried.
Yeah, and I'm sure it fucking was not good.
I'm sure it was bad. I haven't listened back to our Wreck-It Ralph episode yet. I have a feeling it's bad.
Yeah, it's probably not good. I feel like
Cade,
it's
which
always...
one is 22? I don't remember the numbers.
Which one was which one?
Cade says 22 was their favorite.
Oh, is that the Power Rangers one?
Probably. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
See, I also remember like the Beauty and the Beast one being really good. I don't know if that one was actually.
Yeah, I remember we felt really good about that one.
Yeah. I think that was the first one where we were like, yeah, a podcast.
Right.
We did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Power Rangers.
I do, I don't know, I feel like I have this thing where, like, I basically, like, it's tough for me to listen to any episode older than, like, 20 episodes back. There's, like, a window between 20 episodes ago and now where I'm like, hell yeah, this is, like, where we're at right now. And this feels normal, and, like, I could be proud of this. And then as soon as it, like, crosses that threshold, I'm like, oh, I don't really like the way I did that in this one.
Ew, the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or it's like, oh, that wasn't actually my opinion. Like, it's kind of my opinion,
right,
but I phrased it weird.
That's one of the tricky things,
That's
like, sort
the
of
worst. It's like we've got a bad luck. That's like the worst though, where you're like, that is my opinion, but like not exactly my opinion.
I didn't
like,
express
I
that
said
well.
It weird, and that's not like actually what I think. Yeah, exactly.
But it's like,
oh, I could have phrased this better, and then it would actually be my opinion.
Yeah, and like there's a certain thing where it's like in a format like this, where it's like entirely built around you having thoughts and opinions that you need to share right now because we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, like, you start talking about something, and it's like something you have sort of a half-baked thought on, and you just have to start, and you kind of, like, make it up as you go along, you know?
And you just have to start talking.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, it's some sort of representation of what you're feeling at that instant, but, like, the longer you talk, the more critical of, like, the things you just said are, you know? You, like, you're sort of processing it for the first time as you're just speaking. And then you look back on it and you're like, now that I'm at the end of this conversation, that thing I said at the beginning of the conversation is not at all what I actually think and feel.
Yeah. No, that happened.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do that for a lot.
Okay.
For me, Jackson, where it's like, I will say something, and then you'll be like, I don't think that's true. And I'll be like, I also don't think that's true. Thank you. Thank you for saving me.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things. There have been a couple of times. I'm
gonna start my new recording now.
Oh, okay. There have been a couple of times, not to like out myself, that I've like cut stuff out of the podcast because I like listen to it back and I'm like, I don't feel that. I feel like I just totally put my foot in my mouth, and like I don't think that's actually representative of like my opinion on that.
Yeah. It's like, oh, nope. Put that right
there was a patron cast that Jackson and I did for Find Us Alive. And there's like a bit that I try to do where we were talking about how like producing the music works and like how Jackson, you know, picks all the instruments and stuff. And I tried to make this bit where I was like, Jackson, I didn't know that there were more than 2 different types of guitars, acoustic and electric, and haha, bit. And Jackson was like, I don't understand that bit. And I was like, I tried. And it was just gone. I listened back and it was nowhere to be found.
Well, I didn't want to embarrass you.
I thought it was really funny.
I didn't want to embarrass you.
I appreciate that.
Being funny.
Yeah.
I do that. I just go for bits.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay, I've restarted. It's another audition file.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened, so I'm just gonna keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't do it again.
So okay.
Okay.
So yeah, Adeline, just super quick.
Thank you for being patient.
Yeah, Adeline, you were still recording that whole time, right?
Yeah, I'm so recording.
Okay, I am too. So let's keep it like that. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm realizing that maybe what we could do is for the stuff that's missing, maybe we could just take the stream audio whole cloth and just replace it instead of just trying to pick out Tabby's parts. And like the audio will be
overlap is going to be bad on that.
It'll be worse for everybody, like audio wise, but it's better than having to spend 8 hours to put a podcast together.
Yeah,
by like selecting.
I really wish that didn't happen.
If you didn't come here for people talking over each other, why are you even here?
Okay. So where were we on Star Wars?
Oh God, I forgot. Oh, I remember I remember the font that I put in the trash. I can say it now. So I absolutely love that scene because we're talking about the stormtroopers and how they should be a joke and they should be scary and CinemaSins is bad, which is an opinion we've never said on the podcast. CinemaSins is bad.
We're ready to come out against CinemaSins.
I absolutely love it. Yeah. No, I've never heard of them. Who? Anyway, so I absolutely love that scene where basically the stormtroopers find Leia and they're like, "Oh, we should take her hostage. Set your lasers to stun." And then Leia just shoots one of them in the chest and runs away. It's the funniest thing on the planet. And I love it so much.
Your mistake.
Yeah. You should have killed me when you had the chance. It's so funny.
That is really.
I like Leia. I like her.
Yeah, Leia's great. She's so good.
She was fun.
Well, it's like I love like this movie. Like even though Luke, I think, is probably the weakest character in this first one because he's a little bit annoying. Like by the end, he's fine, but it's just at the beginning he's annoying, and it just kind of hurts his character a little bit. But like Leia and Han and Darth Vader are all just like immediately like, oh, these people are cool. I'm super down with this.
Right.
Like
Darth
and
Vader,
Chewie.
and Chewie. Yeah. Well, it's just like the introduction to Darth Vader is like he just like walks into a hallway and like looks at some dead bodies and is like, anyway, like that's great. And then he fucking.
Wait, did you guys know that you could see his eyes, like through the visor, like through like the eyepieces?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
like they're not opaque. They're you can see his eyes.
Oh wait, do you mean Chewbacca or do you mean Darth Vader?
Darth Vader.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
the
in
the
scene, in the scene where they're driving around in their fighters, where Darth Vader is in the fighter and he's like killing everybody. There are a couple scenes where the angle and the light is hitting him just right. You can straight up see his face like through the eye hole, like glass.
Yeah, and it's not James Earl Jones.
Weird.
It's what's his name, the guy who was him on set.
I don't remember the name, but I know who you're talking about.
What's his face? Yeah.
Well, he's not like famous for anything besides being Darth Vader.
Right. But
I think that introduction of Darth Vader is so good because first of all, like him like coming up and like putting his hands on his hips and like looking at the dead bodies is like kind of funny. Like it's not the most intimidating thing in the world. But then directly in the next scene where he's just like strangling a dude for information, and, like that's scary. But I absolutely I adore this moment because this is one of the few moments that like Darth Vader's like scary in these original movies because we talked about Darth Vader being scary before. But it's when he strangles that dude and just like drops him, and then he just like starts yelling at the people around him, where he's like, "You find every fucking buddy on this ship, and I want them fucking alive." And he storms off. It's a mood.
Yeah,
it's scary.
It's pretty.
Really
pretty
like,
frightening.
He's just. Yeah, it's so good. It's just like, first of all, it's like this scary man in like a helmet and a cloak, and he just straight up strangled a guy. But for some reason, him just like yelling at people is way more scary than that. And I couldn't tell you why, but like it's so good.
I didn't know that he talked so much. Like I really thought that he was like a very silent, like just like the sheer like. Just his presence was just enough for him to be scary.
Right.
I did not expect him to have that many lines.
Right.
And when he did, he was talking so much, I was like, oh shit!
I know.
Holy fuck!
I know, he's talking, and he's
talking a lot. He's scary! And I was like, and there were interactions with him and Leia where I was like, they're talking so much, and like by next to me was like, well, yeah, he's a politician, and I was like, he's a what? Because I guess he is, and I've never thought of it that way. Anyways, that boggled my mind for a second.
I mean,
because like a lot of the time, the thing about go ahead.
He's like a military officer.
Either of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone, please.
Yeah. Anyone. Yeah, that's true, I guess. But like, Kate says the Rogue One scene was honestly my strongest impression of Darth Vader, and like I hard agree.
Yeah.
Hard agree. So scary. Like I really do think
everybody in the hallway. Yeah.
Yeah, and like this is a conversation that you have more when you're talking about like actual like horror films. But like things are so much scary when you don't reveal that much about them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so like in Rogue One, Darth Vader was so scary because he just like silently walks out of this like door frame of like smoke and fire or whatever it is, and he starts killing people like very effortlessly. Effortlessly. And like that's terrifying. He doesn't say anything, or like maybe he says like one or two things, I don't know. But like that's frightening. The fact that he talks so much in this movie and that you could see his eyes, I was less scared of him at that point.
Right.
Not that he's not scary, but I was kind of like, I am not as intimidated by him now because I can see his humanity, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and
but
what was I gonna say? Oh, I had a thought. Hold on, it's in there. It's kind of a new joke and an old joke at the same time that Rogue One kind of immediately makes every scene between Darth Vader and Princess Leia hilarious. Because we go from that scene of him killing everybody on the hallway and the huge war that just took place on the surface of the planet, and then like 2 minutes later they like walk like a mile over that way and catch them, and they're like, "Hey, give me that thing back." And Princess Leia is like, "What are you talking? What? I'm going to Alderaan." Like it's just it's so. funny.
Are you talking
Darth
to me?
Vader being like, "You're fucking not." Like, yeah, are you talking to me? I was so
not.
It's just
really funny, actually.
It's just really good. Well, I don't remember who was talking about it, but he was like the perfect person to go up against this terrifying military man is absolutely a 19-year-old girl. And I was like, hell yeah, because she immediately shoots a man in the chest, and when she's confronted, she goes, "I don't know what you're talking about."
I have no idea.
Yeah, like it's so good. I love it so much.
I like her a lot. Yeah, that's very fun.
If we want to move forward to the cantina, which I feel like is probably the most, perhaps the most influential sequence in a film ever in history, I would argue.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I feel like that is the thing that really sells Star Wars and makes Star Wars the like primary cultural juggernaut for the next century of film. Which is just that like they just walk in and it's grimy and gross, and there's like a million different guys who look a million different ways, and it's like just totally filled out and imagined, and it like feels really tactile, and like I think that is like the moment where people like really and truly like dial into Star Wars, where it's like, that guy's a little bat guy, he's the best. Look at Ponda Baba with his butt cheeks on his chin.
With his butt mouth.
And on top of like all of the things that you've mentioned, how they like look all different, and like I mean practical effects. I really want to talk about practical effects.
Okay.
But like it like tactile, I really feel like is a good word to describe like all of the different like alien races that you see and like all that stuff. And it feels so real. What I loved, what I noticed was the sound design of like how they all talk.
Yeah.
Like
like all the different languages.
Oh my god. Yeah, and like there's something about how like aliens sound in Star Wars movies that's just like okay, this is a Star Wars alien race, like
right.
for sure, because they sound like that.
Like, yeah.
What was that, Madeline?
No. Me? Me? Me?
Yeah.
No, me? No.
I was a little bit disappointed though.
No, me? No.
Because we had there was some podcast where we talked about that scene where they start bothering Luke, where you told me that there was a second I'm sorry that was like even more emphatic than the first one, which I thought was hilarious, but it turns out that's not actually in the movie. Like,
it's just what
for some reason in our imaginations it was like
so much funnier than what it actually is.
Yeah, in our imaginations it was like he doesn't like you, and he was like, I'm sorry, and he was like, I don't like you either, and he was like, I'm sorry. Which is much funnier than like the actual
Louder,
thing that
faster.
happens. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
God, that would have been so much more
That's
funny.
really funny.
But like, I think it's very strange. And it honestly just had to do with the time period that things were coming out. But like, people always love to compare Star Wars and Star Trek. It's like, oh, which is better, Star Wars and Star Trek? And I think what really made people glom onto Star Wars was that it looks and feels so much more different than Star Trek. Like, I feel like Star Wars is way more of a fantasy than Star Trek is.
Yeah, it's way less fucking boring.
And it's way less fucking boring and bad. But, like, Star Trek is always so clean and polished and crisp. Like, everybody's in a uniform, they're on a white ship with, like, clean hallways, and they go down to a planet, and everybody looks like a human person in a pretty, like, pristine costume.
Yeah, boring.
Like, everything is so, like, dry cleaned and perfect. And then when you get into Star Wars, and they're like, we're in a fucking bar, and I cut a dude's arm off, and we're all stinky and gross and speaking our own alien languages. And it's like, hell yeah, this is cool and crunchy, and I like it.
And like the sets throughout this entire movie, like even on the like the sets that aren't supposed to be as crunchy or dirty, right? Just like the set design for Star Wars is also just like the sound design. It's just so Star Wars. It's and like that is so cool to me that like it is immediately identifiable.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that so much. Watching this movie was really, really fun.
Yeah, this is a good movie. No one's ever said this before, but this is a good movie.
No, I was just really surprised, I guess, because I didn't know that this was like the first Star Wars movie they made. This is also something that Vi told me upon sitting down. Because I just thought, you know, this is one of the Star Wars movies. Maybe I've seen it, maybe I haven't.
Right.
But one of those Star Wars.
Yeah, but no, this is like the first one, and I was so excited to just to see them like set everything up like that. Was just it's a really fun experience. Watching this movie was really, really fun. Anyways, Cantina. We're talking about the Cantina.
It's interesting because
I'm sorry.
You could kind of infer if you chose to that like Obi-Wan and Chewbacca have kind of a rapport, because he like totally just walks up to Chewbacca and is like, hey, you know, I need something done, and Chewbacca's like, oh yeah, let me go talk to my guy. Which is why it's so fucking weird that George Lucas was like, I'm gonna have Chewbacca and Yoda be friends in the third one, actually. I'm gonna go really far out of my way to make Chewbacca and Yoda
Obi-Wan,
friends. Yeah. Like, it would kind of make sense for, like, him and Obi-Wan to kind of be buds, because it would sort of pay off in the original one. But he was like, no, I think him and Yoda should, like, be pals for absolutely no reason.
Maybe George Lucas doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
You know, I think that's that's very possible.
Yeah, I'm starting to suspect
you may be onto something.
That maybe.
But yeah, I mean, once you get onto the Death Star, like basically the whole movie just turns into, I mean, you're watching actors who have been told faster, louder, more intense the whole time. They're all just like, shut down the power converters on intention level! Oh, 3PO, rickety B! Oh, God! Like, just everyone's just like...
quieter! They're gonna find us!
Like, everybody's just like...
And we're supposed to be sneaky!
Pitched at an 11 the whole time, and it's so funny. Like...
Well, it's like... It's just such a nice, like, simple plot at that point, though. Like, yeah, everybody's yelling, but, like...
but the goal is so clear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the goal is so clear. It's to get out.
Yeah, Luke wants to rescue the princess. Han is coming with it. Like, they're just, like, they all have their clear character motivations. Like this is the part of the movie for me where Luke stops being annoying, where Luke is like, all right, I want to rescue the princess. Let's go. And it's like, yeah, do something, Luke, instead of complaining about burgers. It's like, yeah,
Right.
Luke. And then just
he becomes annoying in a different kind of way.
Right.
I think.
He becomes less annoying as like a teen boy and more like kind of like protagonist annoying, which is like annoying diet, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
It's still pretty annoying, but it's just like it's not like you just kind of deal with it. But like it's totally fine. But and then you have all the character interactions of like Luke and Leia are like they're like fun and sweet and like doing things together, and Han is being an asshole and running into a room with a million stormtroopers in it. Like it's just so simple and fun, and the goals are so clear, and the characters are so clear. It's just a good time.
Yeah.
And then
that's one of the things they changed in one of the versions.
The shittiest lightsaber fight in history.
Yeah. Well, no, I want to say
what did they change?
One of the things they changed is that shot where he gets chased by a bazillion stormtroopers. In the original theatrical version, both of them, I think, it was like all totally practical, and it was like 5 or 6 stormtroopers, which is like still funny. Like they would probably kick his ass because they're like 6 dudes.
Yeah.
But for some reason, at some point, they wanted to like go back and add like 15 more stormtroopers to the background of that shot to make it like as many stormtroopers as possible.
Which is also pretty funny.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, what I wanted to say, that it's been beaten to the ground like a dead horse, the fact that lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader sucks. And it's like the first lightsaber fight that we ever see, and it's the worst thing on the planet.
It's really bad. Like the fight choreography is just bad.
Yeah.
And there's like that moment where Obi-Wan is like kind of poking it. Or no, Darth Vader's like just kind of poking at Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's form is just like, what?
No,
you can't do it.
No, don't get me wrong. It sucks ass. But I think it's really interesting that the first lightsaber fight that we ever see, it feels a lot more like you're trying to go with like the fencing style of fighting.
Right.
Than they
I
are
noticed
with, like,
that,
sword. Yeah, because they are doing like those little like pokey moments and like spinning around and like trying to keep a distance between each other.
Right.
Like it's weird that they kind of switch the fighting styles of the Jedi and the Sith, like, as they move on.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's super interesting. That fight sucks ass, but it definitely feels like they're trying to do, like, a fencing kind of thing instead of, like, the short sword, broadsword fantasy kind of fighting that we see later.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, is that, like, that fight in a certain way feels very sort of, like, even though it should be supremely emotional, because it's, like, student and master who have changed so much, like, even without the, like, context of the prequels or whatever, like, just in what they've set up in this story, it's, like, student and master, and they've changed so much since they were, like, friends at one point, and they're, like, fighting to the death on the ship. It should be, like, a really charged moment, but the way they move is so, like, weirdly, like, clinical and, like, clean, and they're, like, doing their little tiny, like, fencing moves, which is why it's so interesting that Empire Strikes Back, that fight between Luke and Darth Vader at the end, is so, like, intensely emotional. It's this thing where they're just, like, fucking angry, and, like, they're, like, swinging two-handed at each other with these lightsabers, just, like, with, like, rage and, like, force, and it's, like, so visceral to watch. It's so interesting that they, like, really got it together. like they sort of realized that, like...
George Lucas figured it out.
that like, that's not what people wanted.
Also, the lightsabers are so thin.
Oh, yeah.
Like, did you notice that? Like, they're so tiny in this movie.
Well, wasn't it? It's the guy who plays Obi-Wan in this movie who famously hates Star Wars with his entire soul and being.
He doesn't like it at all.
Isn't that right? Yeah, no, he hates it. If you, like, I think he's dead now, probably, yes?
Yeah, he died, like, in the 90s, I think.
He just, idea. He's mega dead now. But it was, like, a thing that, like, kids would send him fan mail, be like, I loved you in Star Wars, and he'd be like, you're an idiot, because Star Wars fucking sucks.
Who was
like,
this
what
again?
a cool dude.
Yeah.
It's the guy who plays Obi-Wan in this one. I don't
Alec Guinness is his name. No, it was a whole thing where people would come up to him and be like, oh, man, like, I love Star Wars, and he would just be like, you should do something else. Like, it's...
Yeah, you should do something else with your life. You're fucking
should talk
stupid.
to somebody else.
Yeah.
He was just embarrassed. He was just embarrassed about that shot where he was introduced, where he like came over the hill screaming, and he sounded like, ah!
It's really good.
Yeah.
I think what happened in the filming of the world's shittiest lightsaber fight, I think George Lucas came up to him and he's like, be like more visceral, more motion, like quicker, louder, faster. And he just like looked him dead in the eyes and went like, no. And then George Lucas was just like, okay. And they just got what they got because he fucking hated being there so much.
Yeah.
I don't think he hated
like also,
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think also maybe like Darth Vader I think maybe also Darth Vader just had a hard fucking time moving around in that suit. Like he also was like he was really struggling. He was just like trying to I don't know.
Yeah.
He looked like he was having
it's like the first Iron Man movie where the Iron Man suit is like 1,200 pieces.
Versus
Endgame, where I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is wearing anything practical so that he can like actually move in the last movie.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That was like literally like it became parts of his contract in the like later Marvel movies. Like at first he was like, yeah, whatever. Like I'll wear this whole practical suit. It'll be a whole thing. By the time he hit Iron Man 3, he was like, I'm 50 now, so in my contract I'm saying I can only wear 10 pounds of practical armor. And then the next one he was like, I can wear 5 pounds of practical armor. And the next one he was like, I cannot wear any pounds of practical armor.
Well, it's like, because I totally get it. Because as much as I love practical effects, when it comes to thing like the Iron Man suit, I totally get it. Where you're like, we need you to like jump around and punch this guy, and you're like, dude, I just can't. Like, I get it, Robert Downey Jr. I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
Like I can't lift my arms over my head. I can't. I don't know what you want from me.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr.
I'm so sorry,
Junior.
Mr. Junior.
Mr. Junior.
Okay, I have a really quick question, and we can just breeze past this, because I don't know if anyone has said this before. I don't know how stupid this is. This is probably really stupid. Has anybody made the connection between the names George Lucas and Luke?
Yeah, of course. That was Mark Hamill's most famous story, is that whenever he couldn't figure out what George Lucas wanted from him, he just decided to like play it like he would imagine George Lucas would say it, and then George Lucas would always love that take.
Oh, so like for sure, Luke Skywalker is like a self-insert character.
Yeah, no, I think George Lucas has like in interviews said that like, oh yeah, Luke Skywalker is me. Like I think that's like a thing that he has said.
I mean, good for him for just coming clean with that. That's awesome.
I mean, just being like, yeah, that's me.
That's me. Okay, thank you for answering that question. I had a feeling. Well, I think at some point also his uncle calls him Lucas.
Does he?
Like really briefly, just once. I think so. It's when they're sitting at the table and it's just like really like quick and it just goes by really fast. But I think he says Lucas.
Adeline, your thoughts? We've watched this movie a lot because we had the DVDs growing up. I'm like 90% sure he definitely doesn't do that.
So here's the
maybe
thing.
I just heard it and I was like,
because we've watched this movie maybe 12 million times, I didn't watch it super closely this
well, yeah,
time,
that's the thing,
so
right?
I tell you.
Yeah.
I was just like, I know what happens in Star Wars, and I do know what happens in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, then they go in the trench.
Like, my notes are super short, but it's
and Han Solo shows up and turns out to be a good guy at the end. And they blow up the Death Star.
It's great.
And it rules. It's a good flick.
Good.
I wrote down that, like...
And the guy is like... And they're like, oh, we should get out because they're attacking. And he's like, leave in our moment of triumph. And then he gets fucking exploded.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Good.
That was cool.
Yeah.
It was just cool.
And I really like... I think this movie plays...
Cool. It was just fun.
I think this movie plays well off the heels of Rogue One. Because there's a certain irony to, like, canonically knowing that this ship has been sabotaged from, like, minute one of this movie. Where it's like, you just watch this whole movie where it's like, here's exactly how they're about to blow it up. These are, like, it has a particular flaw in Achilles' heel that people are working to exploit. 100%. And, like, starting and just having them be like, yeah, this fucking ship's the fucking coolest, we're gonna rule the whole galaxy with it. You're like, I know something you guys don't
blow
know.
It up.
Yeah.
I think it works. I think it's a cool, interesting sort of dynamic.
Oh, absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah, Rogue One is probably the best prequel to Star Wars.
For sure. Yeah.
I'll say it.
I think that's an
For
easy
sure
choice
the best
to make.
prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it actually enhances the movies that happened before it.
Right.
Instead of weirdly not working with the originals.
Instead of making
anyway,
them not make sense anymore.
I like to think I love that scene at the end. The ending of this movie is weird, but I kind of like it. I like that it just ends with like, we fucking did it. Yay.
We did it.
Like, I don't know.
I love
They get medals.
I love feel good endings. I love it. Yeah. I really do. And I like the scene where they all hug each other. Like, that was so cute.
Yeah.
It was like, there they are. There were those stupid kids, and they did it.
Yeah.
I love it. And then CP3O comes in, he's like, no, R2, no! And everyone's like, it's fine. No!
C-3PO's like, my husband is dead! And they're just like, woo!
I laughed at that. I thought that was really funny.
But I love that ending ceremony because it's just wholesome and it's nice and it's fun. But I like that Han Solo, like, I don't know if he only has one outfit, but he only knows how to dress himself one way.
Right,
and that is pants with a stripe, a white shirt, and a black vest. That's all he knows how to do.
And big old boots. And Luke followed him. And Luke was like, yeah. Oh, maybe Leia will like me more if I dress like this.
If I wear this gold suit.
If I got a jacket. I need a jacket.
And giant, shiny boots. I need a jacket.
I need a jacket.
He, like, doesn't realize it, but
does anyone have an ascot?
He doesn't realize it, but he just dresses exactly like Han. And then he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
I love...
Damn it.
Cowboy hat? No cowboy hat.
There's a Polygon video where Patrick Gale sort of like, he's talking specifically about Star Wars video games, but he's basically like breaking down the like fundamental aesthetics of Star Wars in a way that is like really insightful and not necessarily something you think of all the time. And like the two things that he brings up are like, it's the 70s, people have mustaches and are wearing leather jackets like that. Like that's like a fundamental part of Star Wars you can't get rid of. And like bottomless,
it's the 70s.
Right, and like bottomless pits. Like there are just bottomless pits in Star Wars, like all the time, and there's just nothing that you can't have Star Wars without bottomless pits. That's important. It's like I never would have even thought about the fact that every movie has multiple bottomless pits in it, but it does. Like they do, they all do.
I mean, we do though. And Luke's house is a pit.
Well, and like. That goes along with something that I noticed, and I noticed is like the sense of scale. the sense of scale in all Star Wars films is generally, I feel like, really well done. Yeah. There were a couple of times where the sense of scale in this one is like, because you know that it is all practical
it's
and like
model.
They're using small models and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but like. If you can get past that, like, holy shit, the Death Star is fucking huge, y'all.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like, oh yeah,
and like, I was just cool. It's really, really cool. But anyways, I know we were talking about giant
Star
pits,
Wars...
so I was like, oh yeah, sense of scale is just good.
Yeah, Star Wars really loves to make you make the protagonist seem really, really small. Because in this one, we have the Death Star, which is the size of a planet, and it's huge. But even when we're, like, inside the Death Star, when we're, like, doing things, and we're, like, we see the Millennium Falcon and it's big, or we're in this big hangar and it's big, like, everyone always feels really small. Like, it's really interesting. Because we talked about that in Rogue One. It's like you have all these layers, and the bottom layer, the smallest layer, is the foot soldiers on the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, when we get into the next movie, when we introduce the AT-ATs, which are these huge walking things that just, like, step on ships and crush them, and we have the foot soldiers running on the ground, and they seem so small. Like, it's just... Yeah. Star Wars loves to be big and make the people feel small, even though the small people have big personalities. What?
Wow. Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars is good, man. And Star Trek is kind of bad, and nobody will say it.
I have no input on that argument because I know very little about Star Wars and I know even less about Star Trek.
Yeah,
so.
Look, I respect the Star Trek, like, peace, be nice to everybody, and like what they did for like civil rights and like having a black woman on their TV show. I respect all of that. I
Still
kind of
boring
get
as fuck,
super
though.
hella bored whenever I watch any Star Trek stuff. What'd you say, Jackson?
It's still boring as fuck, though.
Yeah, it's just really boring.
They're
And
like,
the
what if we
movies,
made a
like,
show about a world
objectively,
where there
Star
aren't
Trek
any
is
problems
worse.
and everything's all figured out? It's like, I'd rather you didn't. Like, that's kind of what makes stories interesting.
This is boring.
Frankly.
Yeah, conflict.
Sorry, I'm looking up a review because, hey, I'm sleepy and I'm ready to wrap it up.
It 7? I want to go to bed.
I had to work 8 hours today at a brand new job, which is why we had to start a little bit later. So I'm tired.
Oh yeah.
Both me and Jackson are work people. Are worky people.
I'm a worky person.
People with jorbs.
I have 3 more notes that I have written down.
We're gonna go through.
Well, you Jackson, while you look it up, I'll just shoot through these. Okay, the tiny black box robot on the Death Star is my favorite.
Amazing, perfect. Show-stopping.
At the timestamp 44 minutes and 26 seconds. Excuse me. You can see Poe Dameron and Finn in the background.
Oh, did Disney Plus add them in?
No, they're just like background characters that straight up look exactly like them. And it's like, and they're like kind of fuzzy because they're just in the background. They're just like walking past. It's like when they're like on their way to the cantina, but like straight up, they look exactly like them. And I wouldn't think that was so strange, but you could see them in the same shot. So I wrote that down.
Oh, weird.
That's for your homework.
So hey, fellas.
The last thing.
Go ahead, Tabi.
What? Okay, the last thing I have written down is what I've been wanting to say this whole time about practical effects.
Okay.
Because I mentioned this to Vi and they were impressed, and I just want to flex my animation knowledge. So, did you guys notice how most of the things that they went in CGI animated, like after the fact that they added in, they were like mostly things with like scales and stuff? And how a lot of the things that they kept that were practical, with the exception of like some of the races, like in the bar, right? A lot of those things were hairy, like they had long like hair and stuff. And I'll tell you why. It's because animators hate animating hair.
Right.
Because it's really fucking hard. Because like there's just so much that could go wrong. And I just noticed that. It's like everything that like looks really shitty is what they added like with CGI, and it's all scaly shit. And all the shit with hair looks great because it's practical.
Right.
Because it's real. Just
because it's
practical
real
stuff.
Yeah.
Like it looks so much better.
Well, shout out to fucking Monsters Inc. in the year like 1990 something, and they were just like probably.
I think it was 2000.
But they're like, we're gonna
I think.
Yeah, probably. But it's like, we are like just figuring out this 3D animation shit, and like making humans and making stuff look realistic is really hard. Let's have our protagonist just be a monster that's all hair, and let's have it look still great in the year 2020. Like,
it was 2001 was when Monsters Inc. came out. But anyways,
Sully has no goddamn right to look as good as he does, because he is literally
so
all
right.
hair, and the animation
you're
for that
so
hair
right.
is so
That's why
good.
like Brave and Tangled and Moana were all like such big deals. Is because it's a thing in like 3D animation, you know, world, which is not quite where I'm at. I'm more in 2D animation, but like it's a thing where it's like, all right, just don't give them too much hair. Just give your characters short hair.
Yeah.
Or else it's gonna suck for you. Like that's a huge conversation that's going on. So
or else this is a whole 4 years.
It's just gonna be us focusing on how to animate hair. And so I noticed that, and I felt cool noticing that because it's an animation thing. Anyways, that was my spiel on practical effects that I wanted to go on. Also, I just think they should have kept
on practical effects.
No, I'm also tired. But
Okay.
I just think that they should have kept most things practical because they just look so good.
Yeah. Everything looks better when it's practical. Just do things practically. Or at least in the practical mindset.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, I'm sure some things would look better in CGI. Like some things. But, just not in Star Wars,
I haven't found it yet. Not in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars is supposed to
Not
be
in Star Wars,
crunchy.
though.
I should feel like I could just touch anything in Star Wars. And if
And
I can't feel like I could just
feels
touch
like
it, then
leather.
it's bad. Yeah.
I feel like if it looks like it feels like leather, it's good. The CGI shit
then
doesn't
it's
look like
Star
that. It looks
Wars.
bad.
No.
Okay, sorry, Jackson. Go ahead.
Hey, fellas, do you want to hear a 1-star review of Star Wars?
Yes.
Oh, I do.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you two different takes that we can go off of.
Okay.
This is a review from Letterboxd. They give Star Wars 1/2 of 1 star, and they say, saw this movie in 2019, and it is shit as fuck. It has cliches. Hands up to Han Solo, though.
It has cliches?
Oh no, a
What
movie
did they
has
say?
cliches in it? It must
Wait,
be
what-
bad.
What did they say? It sucks shit? What did they say?
It is shit as fuck.
Dude,
I love shit as fuck.
dude, that movie was shit as fuck, dude.
So anyway, my name is Jackson McMurray.
Shit AF. My name's Alan McMurray.
My name's Tabi Bardall.
And this has been No Nerds Allowed. Get the fuck out of my house, please.
It's so loud. Jackson is so tired.
I'm sorry.
Good night.
I'm sorry. I had a super long day already, and I was doing great until Tabi said my audition stopped working, and then I couldn't anymore.
I knew it. I knew it would.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Ugh.
I feel so bad.
You could just see the soul leave his eyes.
Yeah.
Just leave his eye.
I'm sure everybody who's watching me on stream can
and I
tell.
thought I legitimately.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell that you just said that. But like, I was like, I cannot not say anything because
Right.
like
Yeah.
it might be fucked, and so I have to tell
Right.
them. And I really didn't want to, but I know I had to, and I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault.
Oh,
It was. I don't know what fucking happened. I really don't.
We'll have you back
But
eventually.
I'm gonna stop my recording now, though.
Yes, yeah, please do.
that makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
also gonna do that.
So, go ahead and just send the audio to Adeline this time.
Okie dokie.
E.
And
Sounds
I'm
good.
gonna...
And we're still streaming, though, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
stop now. I'm gonna stop. Thank you for watching. I should not
Okay.
just leave before I
Good night,
address the
everybody.
audience. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
We're all really tired.
Yeah, we're very
Yeah.
tired. We started late, and it was just a weird
Love
one
you
in general because
guys.
we had a lot of lag. But thanks for showing
Sorry
up.
we
And,
talked about Godzilla's sex at the beginning.
okay,
I'm
that's
not
all.
sorry. I'm not
Thanks.
sorry.